Hey everybody. So in this video, I'm going to talk about exporting your photographs once you're done with your editing. And this video is really a companion video to your importing video. So this is going to be the opposite end of bringing your photos into Lightroom. With exporting, what you're doing is actually taking your file and saving it, taking it out of Lightroom, putting it in a new folder for whatever purpose it may be. This could be for the web, this could be maybe a file that you might print from, but exporting is pretty important because it's the way that you have access to your photographs outside of Lightroom. Okay, so jumping in here, let's just pretend that we've done all our edits, we've done, exposure, contrast, highlights, all the things that we're going to cover in the library module, or the develop module, I should say, of your lessons. But here, we're going to go first to this bar down here. Actually, we're going to be in library. That's where you probably want to export from. And you'll see that right now I just have one image highlighted. You can highlight multiple images. Let's say if you have your workflow requires you to export more than one image, you can go ahead and highlight all of them or some of them. So, you can come into this thumbnail mode here, and if you were to hold Shift down and click, you can highlight all the images. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that here. And if you're in the library tab, export is going to be down here right next to import on the left hand side at the bottom. You can also access it from file, which is usually what I do. I just go file, export for some reason. I'm not sure why I do that, it's just habit, but you can definitely access from the bottom left of library. But I'm going to go from file, so file, export, and this image or this window is going to pop up. Okay, and so this is your exporting window, and this has all the different options for your exporting purposes. Okay, so you can see here at the top that we have 3 files that are selected. Export to should be hard drive, not necessarily the hard drive in your computer, but your external hard drive, and you can choose that specifically. If I click on here, there is also email and CD and DVD. We're not going to use those. It's always going to be to a hard drive, okay? And so each of these is a little pull down tab, and I'll go over the important ones, the ones you'll use the most. Okay, and starting at the top, your export location is pretty key. Okay, so if we look here, we have export to specific folder, and this here will be the name of the folder. Okay, you also can put it into subfolders. You can add a category. If you have an existing file with the same name, this is going to ask you what you want to do if you run into that problem. So right now it's on overwrite without warning, which I don't want. I'm just going to put ask what to do because I want to be prompted. And here is kind of where you want to start. So you don't just want to export your files willy-nilly. You want to stay as organized as possible and put your files in specific folders, okay? So what I tend to do is I will click here, and I always do specific folder. You can see here that there is same folder as original photograph, choose folder later, which I don't do, your desktop, some other areas here that I never use. I'm always on specific folder. And then from there, I choose what folder I want to be in. So by hitting choose, another window is going to pop up that looks really close to what your Finder would look like. Okay, and so here you have access to all the areas of your computer. And so here I'm going to choose again my external hard drive. Okay, so I'm going to click here. I'm going to go to our Fall 107D folder. Okay, and then here I'm going to create a new folder. And I like to do this for every single project I'm doing or potential project. For your purposes, you're going to be choosing new folder, and you're going to organize your images by assignment. Okay, so here I'm going to put assignment 1. Okay, I'm going to hit create. And now you see you have that assignment 1 folder in this other folder. Hit choose. And now you'll see under the folder, it has my hard drive, the folder for our class, and then the assignment. Okay, that's really all you need to do for that specific drop-down tab. The next one that I have down here is file naming, and this one is also important. Okay, and I'll give you a handout that goes over how I want you to rename your files. And I'll just go through what you should be doing for your files when renaming it right now. So when you come here, there might not be anything highlighted. What you want to go to do is rename. Okay. So right now, because I've exported things in the past, I have this here. This is a custom text. What I want you to do is go to this drop-down tab here, and then go down to Edit. Okay. So you go to Edit, then this window will pop up. These may or may not be active when you do it. What you want to do is just clear this. So now you have no text here. And what you're going to do is, again, keeping in mind this idea of organization, you're going to organize these by the assignment number and your name. So I'm going to put A1 for assignment 1. I'm going to hit underscore, and then what I want you to do is put your last name and then your first name. So for my example, I would put Ing. Okay, so last name underscore first name. And then I'm going to choose a sequence number because I want to make sure that my images are in order. Okay, so I would go here and press import. So now I have this A1, last name, first name, and then the sequence number starting at 1, or actually 01. Then I would just hit done. And so now you can see that when I export my files, it's going to start here at 1, and then it's going to insert this other information here. Okay. We're not dealing with video. We are dealing with file settings, and I'm going to have a separate video talking about different files and the types of files. But for our class, what we're going to do is we're going to export in the JPEG file. Okay, so if I were to click here, you can see you can do JPEG files, you can do Photoshop files, you can do TIFF files, you can do digital negatives, you can have the original file. Okay, for our class, because we're concerned about size of your files, and it's just going to be consumed online, we're going to stick with JPEG. Make sure your quality is 100, and here you can leave the color space at ProPhoto RGB. Okay. Then what we're going to do is image sizing, and so again, because we're dealing with seeing your images online, we're going to resize your files, and again we have another drop-down menu, and you can see here we have height and width, dimension, longest edge, shortest edge, megapixel percentage. Longest edge is the easiest one to manage just because you're setting one side for the dimensions of pixels. So you're going to do longest edge, and I don't want you to make these very large because again we're just going to be looking at them online for now. Okay, so the resolution here you want is 72, which is pretty standard for viewing things online and sharing files quickly. Okay, and then I usually do pixels, and for our images I want you to set these at 1920, so 1920 pixels on the longest edge. Okay, depending on where these images are going, that may change, and you might find that when you're working for a client, let's say, or you're entering something online, they're asking for specific dimensions for pixels on the long edge. Okay, so this is where you have control over that. We can see here pixels per inch. Okay, so for our class, this is what we're going to set it to. And then down here we have some other drop-down menus, which, to be honest, I don't ever really use. Output sharpening, I never sharpen anything from output. Metadata you can control here. You can also control it in the importing area. Watermark, I never put watermarks on my stuff. Post-processing, I always put do nothing because I don't want anything to be messed with. So that would be your settings for exporting your images. From then, all you would do is hit export. Okay. Lightroom is going to think for a little bit up here at the top. Okay. Then once this is done thinking, it's taking a minute, you should be able to go to your hard drive. Okay. And you can see here I have assignment 1. The images are coming in. It's still thinking. They're starting to come in now. 1, 2, and 3 should follow quite quickly. But you can see here, this is the exact same information that I entered in our file naming drop-down tab. Okay. Then from here, you would upload your assignment to turn it in, and then would be done. Okay, so that's an overview of exporting. Again, I'll have a little PDF to share with you about the specifics in file naming, but really important step as far as getting the images out of Lightroom and onto your hard drive and then ready to share. Okay, and with that, we're going to end this video, and I see you next time.